No social movement that I know of has made a difference by engaging just one generation. And works very hard to connect activists in all generations with each other. Every year, we take the time to recognize someone who has not only gone before us, but has lived the kind of lives that we ourselves want to live. In the form of the Secular Student Alliance annual Freethought Backbone Award, the Secular Student Alliance recognizes an activist who's contributed to the secular movement in such a way that determination, courage, and brilliance are only the beginning of what is required to reach the goals that they have already reached. We use this award to recognize someone who has racked up some serious time working and advancing secular causes. And past winners include Michael Newdow, and Ellery Shimp, and Larry Jones, and Annie Laurie Gaylor, Dan Barker, and Herb Silverman. Tonight's winner was a Christian when she started her professional life in Los Angeles as a social worker. She was working with mostly Black and Latina single mothers, and there she saw that if a God existed, he cared very little about some of his most loyal followers. Although she explored many alternative viewpoints along the way, she soon became an atheist. Some years later, in 1983, she joined Atheists United, her local atheist community, and got involved in, not just as a leader, but also the kind of person who simply went and did the work that needed to be done to advance the group's goals. She has since then been a public face for atheism, with multiple appearances on TV and radio, and has a long list of publications that she's written. And although she has a long track record as somebody who's been publicly championing an atheist identity, she impressed us most with how willing she has been to do the tedious, time-consuming work of actually making organizations grow and function. In 2002, she helped to found the Secular Coalition for America, and she served as its vice president of membership for many years, and has been one of their most vocal and earliest and strongest supporters through their entire arc. She's also served as the president of Atheist Alliance International, and right now is the vice president of Atheist Alliance of America. And she serves on the board of directors of CampQuest Inc., and has is actually also still serving on the advisory board of the Humanist Association of Nepal. We gratefully count her as a member of the Secular Student Alliance, and in all the leadership roles that she's taken on throughout the years, she's always been a strong advocate for student involvement. She's been a mentor to many people in the movement, myself very much included, for many years, and that continues through the present day. I especially use the advice that she's given me on negotiating. Use that almost every day. If you're interested in advice on negotiating well, I highly recommend that you chat up our winner later on throughout the conference. Her home is a well-known place of comfort to atheist leaders throughout the movement. Whenever people are traveling through Los Angeles, she always warmly welcomes atheist leaders passing through to her house, the Heretic House, where they can have a very, very comfortable stay. I can say that it's quite a lovely, lovely place. So with that, please join me in congratulating Bobbie Kirkhart, the winner of the 2013 Secular Student Award.
Thank you. I used to do a shtick about a politician who started every speech with, "It makes me sort of proud and humble." Tonight tonight, that doesn't seem so funny. I am very proud to receive this award and humbled in the presence of the creativity, the energy, and the mature good sense I see in young freethinkers today. On occasions like this, it is customary for old folks like me to give young folks like you advice. We do this in the spite of total absence of empirical evidence that us old folks are any good at giving advice, or that you young folks are any good at all at taking it. Nevertheless, I will continue the tradition. My premise is simple. Our obligation to free thought is the same as or greater than the religionists' obligation to their gods. Even though the flying spaghetti monster is not likely to condemn your Christian friends to eternal flailing with a wet noodle, our work in free thought is no less than an effort to save humanity. What an individual believes is not important. What a society believes is crucial. So long as the majority of a nation believes in magic, there will be an assault on science that shortens lives and creates environmental disaster. So long as morality comes from an unknowable God, the strong will run roughshod over the weak in abominations such as worker exploitation and child abuse. So long as the gods give differing commandments, humanity will suffer a factionalism that will manifest itself perhaps in behavior as trivial as supercilious snobbery, but often in actions as horrific as warfare. These are not simply problems caused by fundamentalists. Even as moderate believers ignore the edicts of their priests and scribes in favor of common sense virtue, their open belief supports these tragedies. Our job is to provide an alternative to show that life of unbelief can be, usually is, fulfilling and productive. Our job is no less than to save the world from superstitious self-destruction. To do this, we must be aware of the dynamics of movements. One function of the God concept is to amplify the small acts of ordinary people. For these are the acts that change the world. Although there are no simply ordinary people in this room tonight, we must have the same vision. We know that we can't save the country without saving our communities, and saving our country saves the world. Whatever the U.S. political influence, our social influence is enormous. The Secular Student Alliance is vital to free thought, not because of its national presence, but because it helps each campus group maximize its effectiveness, enabling you to do the one-on-one work that not only gives you a chance to, pardon the Christian expression, witness to your fellow students. Amen. You also give your cohorts a place they might get meaningful responses to their questions. This is the universal structure of successful organizations. That's why it's important for you to join a local off-campus free thought group when you graduate. Of course, you will also want to keep up your membership in and support for the SSA. If you don't have time to be active when you're starting a new career, be passive, but keep in touch and keep up your membership. If you do want to be active, you may find that your ideas are frequently met with, we tried that, it didn't work. There are several reasons people say this. Maybe ageism, maybe laziness, but the most common reason is, we tried that, it didn't work. You and I know that it might work in this another time with another technique. When you present your idea, ask if it's been tried before. If they say yes, ask what happened. When they tell you, it may have little relationship to your vision. Ignore that. Ask if someone will work with you to help you learn from their experience. With this approach, you will soon have the respect you deserve as the leader you are. There are so many ways American society works against us, but we defeat ourselves if we fail to learn from the success of religion. A main reason the United States stands out as the most ridiculously religious country among the developed nations is our religious diversity. In most of the world, if you don't like the sect you were born to, any choice you make brands you as an outcast or at least an oddball. So typically, when your religion stops making sense, religion stops making sense. But in the U.S., if you leave the faith of your fathers, there are dozens of other churches and cults extending a hand. It's the same idea in another package. Marketing professionals call this product differentiation. Similarly, we in the secular community can benefit from the differences among our groups, and we should support any group that stands up for the values of free thought. Our different groups have different ways of delivering their message. The most confrontational may harden some opinions against us, but they get the publicity that reaches people who had thought they were alone. The most accommodationist may dilute our message, but they strike a chord with those who are religious by nature, by birth, but free-thinking by nature. At or between these extremes, choose the method that best fits the situation and best fits you. If you think an approach is harmful to the movement, criticize it within the community. However, the press and other outsiders often ask us to comment on someone else's strategy. While you may wish to distance yourself from their means, please be clear and emphasize that you share their goals. Call yourself by any label that fits you, and don't give me that, I don't like labels crap. They are an important way to communicate. If atheist, humanist, or Pastafarian best characterizes you, I had you practicing in that series, but I was told that you kids might not know what that was. You, not kids. You might not know what that was. It's not important. Then, so be it. But don't be religious about it. And insist that yours is the true, best label. It may be that some humanists are afraid to be clearly atheist. And it may be that some atheists use the term because we like to fight.
Yes.
But semantic squabbles have no place in the enormous challenge we face. That said, if you don't believe in any God, you are by definition an atheist. If you don't feel that best describes your beliefs and non-beliefs, then don't use the term. But when you are asked if you, for any reason, deny your atheism, you are violating the only imperative of free thought, honesty. Woo. I further hope that you won't use the occasion to denigrate me and my fellow atheists by claiming to be a superior sort of atheist, such as the too popular phrase, evolved atheist. While we're on the subject, don't cede to the religious terms they have no right to. I've heard too many freethinkers say, we can't claim we tell the truth because the Christians say they have it. You and I know that nobody knows the whole truth. The truth is likely a sum total of all the facts. We know, however, you could argue that there is a greater, higher truth beyond the facts. We know, however, that the truth never disagrees with the facts. They can claim to tell the truth, to be truth tellers all they want, but we are the truth seekers and the truth tellers. It is still the case that many freethinkers join a religion at or about age 30. There are two main reasons for this: career and family. We are likely to believe, or at least accept, religion if we perceive it as good for our professional goals or helpful in raising our children. If you really believe that your career needs to impress the religious for long-term success, then God help you. Our children are another matter. It is true that children need a stable community. And if you take them to a liberal church or synagogue that does good works and soft pedals the God thing, it may seem harmless. Still, the God thing is there. And your children are being taught that their virtue isn't their own. It's by command of and in the service of a magical power. If there is not a free-thinking families group near you, then I have some important information that works anytime there is a need for a group. Your computer machine can be connected to something like a giant telephone party line. It's called the Internet. For only $12, you can meet up with like-minded people. Strangely, this is called a meetup group. Try to get the $12 and other support from an existing local group if you can do so without too many strings. But start the group. Give your children a free thought community. Make it clear that it is not there to indoctrinate them, but to support them in whatever ideas they explore. Finally, I assume that most of you will be lifetime leaders in the free thought movement, either on the local or national level. I want to tell you how you can increase your effectiveness 100-fold, and immodestly, I'll use myself as an example. Recently, an interviewer asked me what I considered my most important achievement. I looked back over progress made by inches and too many defeats, and I was stumped. Then I remembered that I gave Dale McGowan his first national stage, that Richard Haynes came to me for advice when he took over Atheist Nexus, that I brought Stuart Beckman into Freethought leadership. I was immensely flattered when Evan Clark asked to drop by to pick my brain. I don't know if he learned anything. I know I did. The success of these people I get to claim, perhaps unjustly. Our path, what humanist Rabbi Sherwin Wine called the honest life, is so difficult that there are hordes of talented people needing encouragement. And you will have the opportunity to play a part in their work, thereby multiplying your own effectiveness. People I have encouraged make me proud every day. As receiving this award, as you're thinking I am deserving of this award, makes me immensely proud. I answered everything? Yes, Jamila.
Oh, hi, I'm Jamila. Thank you for taking my question. There seems to be some contention within this movement right now of women feeling that in some places their voices are not encouraged. In other places their voices are silenced. Some places they're encouraged. I wonder what you would say to anyone, particularly if she be female, who's interested in making sure that she has something to share and she's questioning what she could potentially do.
I was once on a panel of 4 women about women in the movement, and I was the 4th to speak, and I pointed out when I started that you could tell it was a woman's panel because we all began our talks with an apology.
Thank you. Do you think women should apologize?
No. We should not apologize. Nobody assuming a leadership should apologize, and nobody assuming a leadership should turn a deaf ear to anyone who thinks they have something to apologize for. I think that, first of all, staying in the shadows of doubt and assuming that there are going to be problems if you step forward is a way to ensure defeat and a way to deprive the movement of your unique insights. I further think, however, that all minority groups, all people who have suffered, will sometimes have a little chip on our shoulders. I know my daughter grew up as an atheist around a lot of religious people, and she never had a problem. And she always said, well, it's because too many atheists have chips on their shoulders. I just, this is who I am, and I don't worry about it. I didn't pay much attention because she was in Los Angeles, after all. But then my grandnephew in Little Rock told all the kids on his 2nd grade bus that they could believe in magic if they wanted to, but he didn't. Nobody spoke to him for a week. But Jess is the kind of kid that just, okay, whatever. And after a week, everything was fine again. I think that all of us, this is not about women, this is not about atheists, this is about anybody with the possible exception of conservative Republicans. Sometimes we exacerbate the fight by anticipating it. And I think that this is a time in the movement when women, given absolutely justified complaints, have to be careful not to do that. That probably took pretty close to 6 minutes.
We got one more question. Time for one more.
Okay, yes.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Elizabeth. Thanks for your insights. I have two questions. One that is important for others to hear women. It's also important for women in the movement to hear what other women have to say, because not all women want the same thing, and it's true for the movement too, and that's why we're free thinkers. So that's one thing that from my personal experience, that has been like, you know, a problem for me. So I would like your insight into that, how we can encourage that. And my second question was about your comments that you made about that we are truth seekers and truth tellers. I don't think that that's a very exclusive thing for free thinkers or atheists.
I'm not hearing that. You don't.
Yes, that's true. So how can we be more like, less like Good News Club, but more like promoting independent thought?
I think you're right. Of course, women need to hear women's voices. Men need to hear women's voices. Men need to hear women's voices.
Thank you.
Men need to hear Jamila's Bay's voice. I think that personally we are best at promoting free thought, first of all, positively. As I said here, there's definitely a place for you're wrong about your God is destroyed. But there's a big vacancy in large part, because it's harder to get media attention when we say, look at what science can give us. Look at the morality of rational thought. And I think we need to keep repeating these messages, even if the reporters don't throng to us. We need to keep repeating the positive messages. We need to lead by example. Jamila Bay points out that we need to give our message in stories, in very human, emotional terms. And that's been a big influence on me, and should be a big influence on all of us. That helps.
I'm extending a personal favor to Chuck to ask a super quick question.
It's not really a question.
No.
I just want to say the thing about listening to women. Trust me, I'm president of Atheists Alliance of America. Without listening to this lady, I would have failed absolutely miserably by now. She has given me more support and more comfort and more encouragement than any person I can ever even think of. And I deeply love this lady more than anybody else.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you very much, August. Thank you very much, Secular Student Alliance.
Thank you very much, Bobbie. That was fun.